You're listening to Sun Stories, where your intelligence is always respected. Settle in and enjoy the story. Maybe I racked up bad karma in a past life, because in this one I got placed in a class that was basically all guys, every last one of them, except me. And not just any guys either. The model citizen type. The kind who were honorable with their bros, devoted boyfriends, and respectful of school rules. Quotation marks intentional. To them, I, being the only girl, was an outsider who didn't deserve to stand on the same line. Anytime I spoke, it was like yelling into an empty canyon. No reply. Fine by me. I wasn't going to stand on a soapbox and demand girl power. But if we couldn't even give each other basic respect, then they could wait and see what we're all in this together really felt like. That day, the Student Services building at Riverside State University, Riverside, California, was jammed with freshmen lined up for textbook pickup. Bodies in and out, doors whooshing, heat shimmering on the pavement. Under the brutal sun, my face felt hotter than the asphalt. The upperclassman in charge of distributing books asked me for the third time, "Hey, what time is your class actually sending someone?" I forced a smile. "I'm really sorry. I'll check again." After more than an hour in line, my time and patience were officially torched. I typed a message into our class group me. "Everyone head to Student Services to pick up our books now. Need 10 guys to help carry." Silence. The chat sat there like a dead TV channel, my messages the only flickers of life. I'd reminded them yesterday. I'd sent 3 more messages today. Nothing. Half pissed, half amused, I DM'd our faculty advisor, who didn't want to micromanage but finally sent me the cell numbers for the class officers and told me to call them one by one. Under the curious stares of other students dying in line, I clenched my jaw and started dialing. First target, the vice class representative. In my few impressions of him, he'd seemed calm, maybe reasonable. I introduced myself. On the other end, I got a single word. "Yeah." I kept my voice even. "Student Services is distributing books right now. We need 10 guys. Can you rally people and come over?" I pictured him chuckle, apologize for missing the messages, then make some calls and show up like a decent human. I was ready to stand in the sun as class president if it meant things got done. Instead, his voice sharpened. "You already posted in the group. If I didn't answer, you should get what that means. Also, I have a girlfriend. It's not really appropriate to take private calls from another girl. Don't want her upset. Find someone else. Sorry." Brief pause so I could check whether a human actually said that. I swallowed the "tell your mom" that tried to fly out of my mouth, took a breath, and reframed. "I'm asking formally. You're vice representative. You have a responsibility. If you can't come, can you at least call 10 guys to help carry the books?" My chest was heaving, and I had to mentally chant a few calm down mantras. On the other end, suddenly I heard a chorus of male voices speakerphone. "Why are you calling the vice rep? He has a girlfriend. Don't bother him." Facts. We all have girlfriends. One-on-one contact with a girl looks bad. My girlfriend literally told me to steer clear of you. Said you're the type who becomes one of the boys and then ends up the class darling. Hard pass. We're in college. Handle your own stuff. Don't expect special treatment because you're a girl. See, my girl's never wrong. Right there on the hot steps, I dropped the polite mask. "Oh, please, save the sermon. I'm asking you to carry books, not kidnap your mothers." Private male-female contact? What is this? A hotel rendezvous? Open your eyes if your brain won't open. The library's full of people hauling stacks. Nobody's staring at you, Prince Charming. Check a mirror and tell me if you look like a Greek god or a busted lawn gnome. You think women are starving for attention and you're the last men on earth? I've been baking in the sun for an hour. Spare me the chastity act. They hung up mid-rant. The cold beep 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 rang in my ear. Only when the adrenaline cleared did I realize the distribution hallway had gone silent. Everyone was staring. Great. Day 1 and I'd already thrown a grenade at my social life. I tucked my phone away like nothing happened and turned back to the upperclassman. "Could I just sign out my own set? I've been here a while." He glanced at the snaking line behind me and then called out, "Anyone willing to help her? She's been waiting alone, and this is a lot of books for one person." I knew they couldn't officially let me cut or collect for just me. Still, I wanted to evaporate into thin air. I managed a stiff smile for the room. Then salvation. A girl's voice from the back. How many books do you have? We can help carry. Angels. Literal angels. I almost ran to hug her. The upperclassman looked relieved too. What's your major? He asked me. If I was already famous, I might as well let the whole hallway hear it. I raised my voice. Physics I, class of 2025. Yup, Physics I, the one where every guy has a girlfriend. So I'm a biohazard. Laughter rippled down the line. Someone clapped me on the shoulder. Spicy, he teased. Respect. Thanks to the kind strangers, I got the mountain of books back to our lecture hall. To avoid future nonsense, I hid the boxes in a corner only gremlins would find, pulled one copy for myself, and dropped a message in the group. Books are in. Come pick up your own. If the heroic order of chaste boyfriends wanted them, they could go on an expedition. Within the hour, the chat was still crickets, though more than a dozen guys quietly sent me friend requests. Not because they couldn't contact me in the group. They wanted to dodge going on the record, sneaking in through DMs. Cute. I declined them all and updated my profile. Respectful communication only. Use the group for class business. If they wanted to lock me out, I'd break the lock and keep the door. Dogs fight dogs. The owner rarely intervenes. Without info from me, good luck figuring out anything. That night, scrolling through the campus confessions Instagram and anonymous app, I found the whole saga had spread through the freshman class. Someone had posted a photo of my back at student services with a caption, PSA, avoid the entire Physics I boyfriend brigade. Heard the only girl in the class is also the class president. She waited in line over an hour for books and not a single guy showed. Called for help and got rejected because she's a girl. Collective sexual brain syndrome. Comments piled up from people who'd been there. I heard her voice crack on the phone. Those dudes are awful. Imagine leaving her to carry hundreds of pounds alone. Props to her for snapping back. I'd have exploded. She walked off emphasizing, Physics I, you're famous now. Physics I. Congrats. Went to get books today and heard someone asking where Physics I's books went. Putting two and two together, chef's kiss. She hauled them and hid them so the manly men couldn't find them. Peek. I definitely saw a few guys creeping around lecture halls, peeking into rooms like raccoons. Guess they were book hunting? I flopped on my dorm bed, grinning and humming. My roommate walked in and asked how the book fiasco ended. I'd spammed her at noon, so I gave her the fiery director's cut version. She wasn't in my major, different program entirely, but she was also the only girl in her section, so she knew the feeling. Difference was, her class wasn't actively freezing her out. She pulled a half-used bottle of essential oil roll-on from her tote. I used this like pepper spray, she said. That lecture hall smelled like a locker room dumpster. I spritzed every time someone came near and told them it was mosquitoes. Honestly, my culture shock started at orientation. Our advisor warned me I'd be the only girl in Physics I and told me to be careful. I did my homework, googled surviving as the only woman in a male-dominated class, and every piece of advice said the same thing: run for class president. If the guys formed a silent wall, at least I'd have an official line to the department so I wouldn't get left out of opportunities. They were right, but back then I was naive. I wanted to blend in, so I did light makeup and wore a new dress for the first meeting, ready to make a good impression. I opened the classroom door and got hit by a wave of noise and odor. I had to do 3 deep yoga breaths before stepping inside. The guys were clustered in packs, talking over each other. I sat alone in a corner, smiled and said hello, got a few nods, even some small talk. I thought I'd found allies. So when the advisor announced we'd pick a class president, I hopped right up. Hi, I'm Hannah Lee. I'm running for class president for Physics I. I promise to be responsible and keep everyone updated. Before I could sit, a guy in glasses, Kai Foster, stood too, throwing shade masked as charm. Look, some people get flustered talking. Running a class is serious business. A few polite claps for me. A full-on pep rally roar for him. Our advisor's smile tightened. She raised a hand. Both were compelling, but we're not voting today. I'm appointing Hannah as class president so your cohort is better balanced and cohesive. She saw the writing on the wall. If we voted, the boys' club would crush me. Kai didn't protest, but the look he gave me could have cut glass. I pretended not to notice and even considered taking him to coffee as a peace offering. When the meeting ended, I was added to one class group chat. The guys left in clumps, and I clearly heard them planning a separate brotherhood chat, obviously without me. From then on, we barely intersected. They did ROTC drills together. I joined other STEM girls for the 2 weeks of freshman training. I actually had fun, sweaty, sure, but no rotting gym sock cloud hanging over us. We bonded hard and I forgot the earlier nonsense. Until the book pickup turned the simmer into a boil. Half a month into the semester, physics, I was campus famous. My advisor probably got chewed out. She called me near midnight. I turned on the waterworks. "Professor, I've posted in the group so many times, no replies." I called the vice rep and he told me we can't have private male-female conversations. If those girls hadn't helped, I never could have lugged those boxes alone. I sniffled for effect. "If you don't believe me, check the chat. If this continues, I'll have to go clear my head on the roof." Whether I scared her or she already knew, she sighed. "All right, I'll talk to the vice representative. Keep class matters inside the class. Don't make a scene school-wide." Talk meant scold. The next day, the moment I stepped into our noisy lecture hall, the volume dropped like someone hit mute. Knives of side-eye sliced toward me and then toward Kai. He wanted to make my life hard, but I wasn't about to shrink. I glanced at the book on his desk and smirked just enough to be seen. His eyes flared. "Vice Rep," I said sweetly, "don't stare like that. I'll think you're into me." "Should I tell your girlfriend?" I had no idea who she was. Didn't matter. He grunted and looked away. He thought being ostracized would humiliate me. This was college, not high school. I wasn't clinging to anyone to survive. The first crack in the Brotherhood Alliance came 2 weeks later. Our advisor tasked me with consolidating scholarship and grant applications and turning them in. Opportunity? Mine. I posted in the group, "If you need scholarship or aid, reply with one. I'll DM the form to those who respond. If you don't reply, handle it yourself." Before anyone moved, I gleefully filled out my own forms. If they wanted to be noble, more money for me. If they begged someone in another class to share, whatever, deadlines have a way of culling the careless. Worst case, I'd accidentally misplace a stack and apologize profusely later. Turns out I overestimated their social skills. Overnight, several guys sent me private friend requests. I still declined. A couple actually needed the money. Frustration made them bold. After class, a few waited under the big sycamore and blocked my path. "President, please don't make this hard. Send us the form. Do one good deed." I blinked innocently. Didn't I post instructions? Just type one in the group. It's not a death march. One text. Why is that hard? One finally cut the dance. "You really don't know Kai hates you? In the dorms he told everyone not to speak to you. His crew is not fun to cross. We just want for quiet years. We're neutral." Neutral? Kai Foster, the same guy who hid behind male-female propriety to dodge book duty. My smile thinned. There is no neutral between me and Kai. Staying silent in the group is taking his side. He started this. "Pick a lane." One guy looked wounded. "I thought you were nice." Did I ever say that? I laughed sharp. In your head, nice means I haul the books anyway and hand-deliver them with a bow. After the book fiasco, my patience for the class evaporated. Leaving one girl isolated? Selfish. I didn't argue further. Stand with the pretend king and his entourage or stand with me. I actually just want to do my job and get through 4 peaceful years. If you choose me, answer in the group. If you choose Kai, keep being quiet. Deadline: 1 week. To crank the pressure, I posted daily countdowns. 2 days left to submit scholarship aid. Reality beats pride. A few 1s appeared. I accepted those friend requests, sent the forms, and coached them through filling in the tricky parts. Compared to Kai, I was competent. One kid nearly hugged me. He admitted Kai kept the forms but turned people away with "That's the president's responsibility, ask her," while quietly saving opportunities for his boys. "They're all in designer clothes," he groaned. "They don't need aid. They want it, so we'll be their errand runners." The more I heard, the thinner the brotherhood veneer looked. Kai had moved too fast, flexing before he secured hearts and minds. The few who came to me talked a mile a minute. I let them vent. They were the first to publicly step over the line. From now on, I told them, answer messages in the class chat. I'll think of you first for opportunities. Monday before lecture, I stood at the front. If you have scholarship or grant applications, turn them in now. Soon a tower of paperwork sat in front of me. Faces looked like I was collecting debts. Kai appeared leading his mini-mob. To check for missing names, I reshuffled the stacks and elbowed my iced coffee. It tipped just enough to baptize the pile I'd just collected, and not a drop hit my laptop. I gasped. I'm so sorry. My mistake. The deadline's this afternoon, so please rewrite and resubmit by end of day. I'll personally collect them last thing. I promise this won't happen again. Because everyone knows, make the same mistake twice in one day and it's obviously on purpose. The room erupted. What kind of president are you? I spent all morning on that. Wouldn't have your position without favoritism. A few bit their lips to hide smiles. My small coalition. I'd already tucked their forms safely into my backpack. Allies need perks. I bowed and scraped. I deserve the yelling, but the deadline is the deadline. If you want the money, rewrite. The professor can't help you if it's late. Gasoline on a bonfire. The cursing got loud enough that when our old school professor walked in, he caught a very crisp F-bomb. He slammed his stainless bottle on the lectern. The flicker on his lenses said, "Enough. Take your seat," he told me, then waited until the room was so quiet we could hear each other breathing. At a university, character comes before coursework. I stood outside for 2 minutes. In that time, none of you worked to solve a problem. You only shouted at your class president. That's not how college students behave. He chose the perfect moment right before class to lecture them. He was a patriarchal type, the kind who always promoted the male students he liked and assumed any woman would graduate, teach high school, and marry. In his eyes, women were the weaker group. Even if I'd been at fault, a dogpile on me was worse. After his scolding, the incident cooled. After lecture, Kai shoulder-checked me in the doorway. "Hannah Lee, you're dead in physics." I rubbed my shoulder and smiled. "I thought you didn't do male-female contact? Why are you touching me?" "Careful, your girlfriend might get jealous. Like you're worthy," he sneered. "Some people make you want to poke them every time you pass." Because of the morning accident, nobody turned in anything later. Kai waved a stack of papers, smirking. "Since you're so clumsy, I'll take these with mine to the advisor. Wouldn't want another spill." "Great," I said, and followed him. At this point, I didn't want any last-minute disasters. If something went wrong right at the deadline, not even our advisor could cover me. We walked into the office together, each with a stack. Our advisor's stare was an X-acto blade. "No one is going to explain this morning?" "Kai, you publicly insulted Hannah. What are you trying to do? You never join class activities. You never speak in the group. Are you here to learn or to play rich boy?" Kai's face darkened like a storm. He looked one slammed door away from proving her point. I'd barely settled in to enjoy the show when her gaze cut to me. "And you, Hannah, did I appoint you class president so you could cause chaos? These applications are important. You spilled coffee on them." Unlike Kai, I bowed my head and apologized again and again, promised to make it right. The contrast in attitude made the cause and effect irrelevant. After a few more minutes, she waved us off with one final warning: "You need to give each other grace. Public drama embarrasses the class and the department." I nodded obediently on the outside while mapping out the next move on the inside. Kai, meanwhile, refused to give her an inch, and she looked ready to pop a vein. Outside the office, he puffed up again. "Hannah Lee, I'll make sure you can't lift your head in physics." What a joke. I faked a tremor. "Oh no. I'm terrified. Did your family buy Riverside State? Why not install a back door for your boys and charge a cover?" Right on cue, he kicked a few guys who'd messaged me out of his brotherhood chat. They came to me in tears. "President, you have no idea. Yesterday we were ride or die bros, today, ice cold. We're stuck with you or we'll get bullied to death." I wasn't trying to be anyone's mother hen. I needed numbers, yes. I wasn't going to be a doormat. I gave a few mild words and kept it simple. All official info goes in the class chat. Read it. Respond. That's it. I also knew I had a pipeline that Kai didn't. Being the only girl in physics, I meant upper-class women across campus had already noticed me. Club leaders and student government girls DM'd me tip-offs. Whenever something important dropped, scholarships, competitions, events, they sent me copies, and if I didn't understand a process, they explained it patiently. They were worried that isolation would tank my future. In college, anything funding, competitions, performances can become leverage for grad school or jobs. I was genuinely grateful. For the first week of October, the university planned to host an athletics meet in the day and a performing arts showcase at night for homecoming. My mentors told me straight, athletics wouldn't move the needle, nobody important sits in the sun to watch, and there was no real reward beyond a certificate. The night show was different. Deans would be there. Performing well might help when it came time to fight for a funded master's slot. Each class had limited performance slots, so I claimed one. A guzzing Chinese zither solo. As for the athletics sign-ups, technically the PE rep's job, but I didn't trust him not to sandbag me. When the memo hit, I posted, homecoming schedule. Day athletics night showcase. Tell me if you want to perform. Athletics, register through the PE representative. If you've seen this, type 1. If there's no response by noon, I'll handle athletics registration by default. And just like that, I legally grabbed control of the athletics list. It was in writing. Even if faculty wanted to nitpick, they'd find nothing. I was, after all, a very responsible president. I knew they'd never volunteer for events, so I opened the roster and assigned events based on, let's call it karma, Kai. He got the 100-meter sprint and the 300-meter long run. The lanky string bean next to him, weightlifting. The 5'6" guy who swore he was 6'2" in platforms. Hurdles. The ROTC kid who never mastered opposite arm or leg. High jump and triple jump. The bookish ones with glasses. The 4-100 relay. And me? I would be there too, ever diligent, camera in hand, recording their glorious feats. Funny how being evil is energizing. I finalized the list and spent the whole afternoon in the dorm smiling like a maniac. My roommate was used to my inner villain. She leaned over grinning. Okay, Hannah, what did you do this time? Teach me. I handed her the list. Her eyes got wider. Then she gave me a thumbs up. But are you sure they'll show? Of course not, I said. Which is why I'm doing this. Register first. Tell them later. They ignore everything I say anyway. Which means I can do anything I want. Don't go. Face the consequences. My parents named me Hannah for a reason. Soft on the outside, steel on the inside. If you lead, lead from the front. If you lead from the front, be ready to battle. I sat on the list for 5 days. When the advisor asked for the final version, I didn't hesitate. Our class had no volunteers, but student government requires 10 events per class, so I filled some names in. That okay? She heard the mischief, but after a beat, nodded. For the sake of the class's reputation, fine. But you still need to inform them. Of course. The deed was done. My mood soared. I posted the list. Final athletics registration below. Because student government mandates participation and no one signed up, I selected names. These events affect our class reputation and scholarship evaluations. If your name is listed, show up on time. Are you sick? Who said you could write my name? Pick on us and see what happens. We'll return the favor. You're obsessed with Kai. If you like him, say it. Cloud chasing is pathetic. You took the president role he deserved. He's too generous to fight you, and you just keep humiliating yourself. My girlfriend called it fake sweet. Stay far away. Why don't you run hurdles yourself? I read every single message. Almost all came from Kai and the Brotherhood. The so-called Brotherhood in physics I boiled down to 4 roommates in one dorm room. They fanned the flames. Everyone else either feared splash damage or wanted a front row seat. They went with the current. In the middle of the bonfire, my phone rang. It was the top student in the class, the straight-A guy. I'd put him on the relay team. His voice was calm but tired. President, please don't drag me into whatever's between you and Kai. I want to stay neutral. Everyone thought that. Neutral wouldn't hurt me, right? For one beat, I was angry. A scale is already tilted, I said quietly. You can't stand perfectly in the middle and pretend that restores balance. He understood immediately, of course he did. What do you want me to do? Once I'd vented, I cooled. Your version of neutral? If Kai tells the class to ignore me in the group, DM me. If you hear them mocking my book, pick up in their private chat and plotting to ditch me, DM me. I wouldn't have stood under the sun for an hour like a fool. Neutral, the way they used it, was just another cog in the isolation machine. So my retaliation would target all of them evenly. Homecoming day arrived. And wouldn't you know it, the loudest in the chat showed up early, badges on, teeth clenched. Reality is gravity. Scholarships and awards bent to it. What followed was slapstick. Athletics is for the athletic. Everyone else? Background characters. Add the fact that I'd mismatched most of them, and we got a highlight reel. Kai's 100-meter dash. He panicked about looking slow, launched like a torpedo, and face planted halfway, skidding like a cartoon. I got it all on video, plus the chorus of giggles around me. He probably hated me down to the marrow. I also met his famous girlfriend for the first time. She didn't go here. She had no idea he'd been using her as a shield to freeze me out. She approached politely, hesitant. Could you maybe ease up on Kai? He's very proud. He speaks a little bluntly. If he upset you, I'm sure he didn't mean to. Her Kai and my Kai were different species. I heard he was guarding his chastity for you, I said. Is that something you manage? She blinked. What? No. So I recited the full saga of his virtues, point by point. Her brows sank lower with every example. She tried to argue, so I walked her over to Kai and asked him to deny it. He did. I pulled out screenshots. The argument died in his throat. She got handed a boiling pot she didn't deserve, and she didn't even hesitate. We're done. She left. Kai lost his audience and scattered. His remaining bros glared daggers. I stepped aside. Don't look at me. I'm a virtuous woman, I said dryly. I don't fraternize with paragons of male chastity, thanks to my transparent management style. Not a single medal landed in our column. But we did contribute generously to campus entertainment. Physics, I trended again. That night, at the homecoming showcase, I played a guzzing solo and took first place. No cash prize, but the dean of the college handed me the certificate himself. With a skill on stage, I got pulled into every concert and cultural night after. Name recognition with leadership. Accomplished. Once the Brotherhood's first crack showed, the whole front collapsed fast. I pressed where it hurt, collecting assignments, assigning labor. The room of statues thawed. Answers in the group chat became prompt and complete. Half a semester later, aside from the 4 diehards, no one bothered with the cold shoulder routine. Right then, lab practicums rolled around. The 4 tough guys' practical scores were not great. I grouped the 4 of them into one team for the cumulative lab project. Panic drained their faces. They tried to swap groups, but without my approval. Every group declined. They didn't want freeloading foremen. The same students who'd been neutral with me became neutral with them too. By the end of the semester, even our advisor saw the trench line between me and Kai. So on the first day of spring term, she announced a re-election. Winner stays president. Loser becomes vice president. Kai smirked. I just smiled. He thought the old playbook still worked. He didn't notice how many people were sick of his bluster. Brotherhood theater had lost its magic. My steady, by-the-book approach had very publicly benefited a lot of people. We voted and counted in half a lecture. No advisor intervention this time. I kept the chair clean. Great news for me. When the next campus fun run came around, I could skip it. Or maybe I'd honor tradition and register our 4 glue-bonded bros together. Character building, you know? Thanks for listening, Jay. Parker, if you made it this far, you're a champ. I appreciate every comment and bit of feedback. If you enjoyed the ride, hit like, share, or subscribe to support Sun Stories. See you in the next video.